Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. We are proud to offer this series with funding from the Area Agency on Aging and the United Way of Tarrant County. These programs are recorded and are made available for viewing through a YouTube channel for future use. I am your host for today's activities. Our topic today is summer sports, brought to you by Peggy Spear with the Amon Carter Museum of American Art. And since she is at the beach, I bet she picked some pretty things for us to look at. Peggy?
We'll see. I was thinking about the Olympics because we've got opening ceremonies starting on Friday, and events have already actually started.
Yeah, I
But
watched
now
the I watched the U.S. women's softball team win last
softball.
night. Yeah,
I know the women's soccer team lost yesterday.
I know. Yeah,
But I thought, please, Olympics go forward. I mean, I know COVID.
Yeah.
Now they're saying events might not happen, and athletes are getting sick. So we're going to live through some Olympic sports through our collection, whether we see them or not this year. So we're going to start with, I think this is a really beautiful image, a photograph entitled Swimmer, New York, by a photographer named Paul A. Greenberg. So this was taken in the 80s. Does it seem like it was taken in the 80s? Oop, I'm jumping ahead. Or does it feel like it might have been taken at a different time? Or any time? Is there a timelessness to it, or does it feel of the era?
let's see. It looks a little bit older than the '80s to me.
It
Maybe the
does to me,
'70s
too.
or '60s.
Yeah,
It's an indoor.
it's
Palm-
indoor. Yeah,
Palms were popular in the 70s.
yeah. The palms, for whatever reason, are giving me earlier vibes than the 80s.
More like a 50s.
Yeah, like that
Yeah.
Hollywood Regency type of feel.
Mhm. And the Essex Hotel is a really old hotel, too. So
Yes.
It could have been back in the 50s.
Yeah. Yeah, it just something about it feels not of the 80s. The lighting, does it seem like it's taken early in the day or late in the day?
Either one.
Either
You know,
one?
I don't know which way east or western is, so
Yeah.
it could be sunset or sunrise.
Does anyone else get a sense of the time of day it might be?
Well, swimmers usually get up and at them early.
To me, it feels like that morning sun. But I mean, I'm a morning person, so I get that sense, but it could easily be in the evening as well. So this particular photographer, he was known for street photography. So kind of that everyday lifeness, candid, captured. While this isn't on the street, this still kind of falls into that same category because it's somebody we don't know doing his thing, not staged. But what's really interesting about this photographer is he is actually a doctor, and his medical practice was in Dallas. But he sold his photographs kind of as a side hustle, side interest, and he was able to sell his photographs throughout the country. So different, not an Olympic pool, feels
Yeah.
way
No.
not competitive, totally leisurely, but total, I think one of the more fun Olympic sports to watch is the swimming. What Olympic sport we watch swimming and diving in this group?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
This is one of my brushes with greatness. In high school, I took Michael Phelps to a dance.
Oh wow.
He grew up in Baltimore, and he was one of those guys that he was fun. Everybody knew him, and he ended up coming to one of our dances with me. And so,
Wow.
Oh, so you didn't date. We weren't there as a date. He was just there.
yeah, but we maybe spoke like 2 words to each other, and he was interested in a girl. I went to an all-girls school, so he was interested in another girl in my class. So we didn't really hang out, but anyway, he's one of those people you kind of bump into around Baltimore because he has a house right on the Inner Harbor. He and his wife, and they have 3 little boys. So swimming was always fun just because we knew Michael Phelps. And then where I went to college was where he trained when he lived before he went to Michigan. So he's one of those people that swimming was so big for Baltimore because of him.
Thank you for sharing that. That makes
Yeah,
me
it's kind
feel
of funny. I had forgotten about that. And then I was like, with all of the Olympic stuff, you keep seeing his face pop up and like endorsements and things like that. And it's like, God,
Yeah.
that's funny.
So we're
Swimming.
7 degrees of Kevin Bacon here.
Truly.
That's right.
Yeah, anyone else have an Olympic athlete they might know? I'm sure there's so many Olympic athlete stories just because
I have a cousin from 39.
You're what?
One of my long cousins won the diving competition in 39.
Oh my goodness.
36, Martha. We
36.
looked it up.
36.
36
Thank you.
was in
Deb.
Berlin.
36.
Oh, very
Right.
cool.
We talked about Berlin, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, how interesting.
She's the youngest diving champion. She was 13 in so many months before they had a short cut, young cutoff.
Oh yeah. What is it now? Is it like 15? I think is with the IOC or
I think
16?
so. Yeah.
15. I remember there was that whole thing with the gymnasts, the Chinese gymnast a few years ago.
Yes, with all of the barrettes in her hair.
Yes. Oh, I love the Olympic drama. I give it to me all day long. I cannot get enough of it.
Mm-hmm. I
right.
agree.
Well, speaking of swimmers and divers, we've got another. This is a very simple line of cut, which is a very easy way, simpler way to create a print. You're carving into almost it's a like rubber you're carving into, and then
The linoleum type.
Linoleum, yes, exactly. And it's very flexible. It can be. And you cut it out and then you just roll an ink over it and you put your paper right on it. It's very simple. You can do it at home. It's a very easy print method, cheap print method. And you can only get so many prints out of it before the ink starts to break down the linoleum.
Yeah.
But this is a very simple, beautiful drawing or line of cut of, does anyone know who Annette Kellerman is? I had to look her up.
No.
Okay.
No.
She is a professional diver and swimmer from Australia.
Ooh.
And so this was just, this particular artist was a really good caricaturist and cartoonist. And this was a artwork he did of that diver. So could you tell, before I said it was a diver, what indicates that this is someone diving into maybe water, hopefully water?
Oh, the position of her
Yeah.
Yeah, the
with the arms, in
extended.
front of the face and almost straight.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And her back is bent in a way that she might be performing some sort of acrobat maneuver before she gets in.
Don, that's funny you say that, because when I first saw this artwork, I assumed it was some kind of acrobat that had just been maybe released from a line or from a pole. But there is that acrobatic, which divers are, element that is captured in the bend of her back.
It almost looks like a back dive.
Yes.
Her back
could
would
be,
be
absolutely,
arched.
absolutely.
Her back dive. Yeah.
Yeah, like she just left the board and is starting to position straight.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. Her face is kind of scary.
Yes.
Not
I think she's
picture of her
grinning.
face.
I think she's grinning.
She's grinning. Yeah, she looks very chipper. What she was really known for is the first Olympic swimmer to wear a swimsuit and not a full-blown pantaloons.
Oh, wow.
diving suit. So that was very cutting edge of her day, and so she changed what the standards were for women.
Good
So-
for her.
I know. I was, yay,
Yeah.
women. And now, of course, I think it's Norway's getting fined for their uniform shorts being too long, the women's
Yes.
volleyball team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's so disgusting that women have
Yeah.
to dress like that.
I agree with you, Yetta. I mean, I guess they're only can cover 10 inches or whatever. It's like some ridiculously
Yeah.
small amount of their
Yeah.
bottom is covered.
That's right. And then when you see the men in their shorts and
Yeah.
big shirts and so on, I mean, it's ridiculous. Oh, it makes me so mad.
This is Yetta, you and I, we need to go find a TV and watch all the drama together. I love this kind of stuff. I know, but the good thing is they're wearing their bumpers, they're wearing the longer shorts, and they did get fined and whatever. They're still playing through. So good on them.
Okay.
Hopefully
Good,
that.
good for them, yeah.
And
Good for
in
them.
similar uniform news, you saw that one of the, I want to say it's an American Olympic swimmer. She's Black and she wanted a larger skull cap to swim with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the IOC was denying that initially because they thought it might.
Make her
There's no
more-
way it could make
yeah.
her more aerodynamic. But anyway, I think she was able now to wear an appropriate sized skull cap for her to
Okay.
swim. It's wild, the things that come up every year. All right, we got, oh, go ahead, Don.
No, you go ahead first. I got a story for after what you're saying.
No, I was going to switch to the next
Okay.
image, so go ahead and tell.
So does a lino cut work the way a lithograph does, where you have to cut away everything that's not going to be going to be painted?
Yeah, that's how most etchings and woodcut or any cut works. The lithograph, though, is actually done on a stone where you're using different oils and greases to create an image, where this is actually cut away.
So everything that's white is cut away.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
You can do the reverse too,
Mhm.
where you just cut the image, and so everything would be black around it, and the image would be white.
Be white.
Yeah,
That's true.
And like in etching techniques, that sometimes happens.
That was one of my projects in junior high school. We had to make those in art class.
Fun.
It's one of those things, Steve, you're right, where unless you actually do the method, it's hard to explain a lot of these processes because it's so nuanced. So thank you to your 7th grade teacher for teaching you how to do.
And you're basically using the same tools I did for wood carving, because you're carving that image into that tile.
Very similar. You're right.
I hate to say this, but I see a foot and a breast.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you're looking at quite
A
correct.
foot here.
No, the thing with the orange on it. That's a big toe.
A big
That's
toe.
a cheek.
That's the
with
face,
rouge.
with the goggles.
That's a,
Oh, how funny.
That's
So,
a rouge.
I can only assume that what I see is the butt is you think is some part of the female anatomy.
You're right, Don. You're right on the money.
I'll have to admit, when I first saw it, my brain flipped to archery.
oh,
Okay.
got it. I've got to do this to see it.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Because to me, it looked like a bow.
Okay,
You know.
that's her bottom.
I know, but
Yes.
still,
Right.
that's where the hand grip is, on the bow.
Yeah.
Oh, how funny.
The first time I ever saw an emoji,
Uh-huh.
I thought somebody was just playing with keys, and I said, "What is the double dot and the curve?" And they said, "Turn your head sideways."
Yeah.
Well, deja vu all over again.
Oh, how funny. Yeah, well, this is the beauty of art. People see different things.
I'm so
But
glad
we're
we
going to go
talked
to the
about it.
next one.
Thank
and
you.
I'll jump back to that one because if we're going to talk about archery, well, then I'm going to give you your archery, Steve. We've got a photograph
thank you.
here. Yeah. We've got a photograph right here that Laura Gilpin took, and we've seen Laura Gilpin in several different instances. We've seen her landscapes. We've seen her photographs of the Navajo reservations in New Mexico and Colorado. And now we're looking at a picture that she took for a prep school called Sandia School. And it no longer exists as it did in this time. I think it actually shut down. I have it written down. It shut down in 1930, maybe right after World War II, it shut down.
Isn't this the one we had one before that had the big lodge?
Yes, that was a different school. That was an all boys school. Now
Right.
we're doing the all girls.
But it was the
school
same
thing.
concept. Yeah. Okay.
1000%. And so this school opened in 1932, and I think it was maybe like 5 students. By the time this, it relocated in 1937, and by that time it had 75 students. 9 of them were boards, and then the faculty. And so these pictures she took were for the brochure, basically.
Huh.
And so what appealing things might you see in this photograph if you were thinking of sending your daughter to this boarding school?
Oh, but I noticed they're longbows. They're not recurved.
Yeah.
They're all
Yeah,
longbows, which is very hard because it takes a lot of strength to pull the
Yeah.
longbow.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever used a longbow.
Yeah, it takes a lot of strength to it because it's basically just a straight. There's no
Yeah.
curve into it except a little bit,
Sure.
it's not a recurve. It just takes a lot of strength to pull them. It would be a very unappealing to a lot of girls today because the uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's appealing. I would send my daughter there because they're doing bow and arrow
Yeah, they're
shooting.
doing sports, yes.
It's
More than just soccer, things
Yeah,
like that,
that's
yeah.
right. It's a different sport that normally I could imagine only boys did.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Yetta. And I agree. I think the uniforms are very appealing. We had to wear similar uniforms in gym class in high school. So to me, I think, oh, these are my people. But the shoes I'll tell you what, could you imagine doing any sort of athletics and what looked like almost not saddle shoes, but some sort of not flexible gym shoe?
But they didn't have really tennis shoes back then.
They just look like they're very rigid. I mean, this
Yeah.
has even a heel.
That's what I was gonna say. It looks like one of them has a heel. The other one on the right does not have a heel.
They have a very
Yeah, you're
small
right.
heel. One of them has a very small heel on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anyone do archery in high school or college?
I
No.
taught archery.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. I taught archery at the Boy Scouts, and the only PE class I took in college was archery. I
Okay.
needed one PE credit.
Yeah.
And so I took it. Of course, I, aced the class because I'd already taught,
Right.
archery for I don't know how many years by that time.
Yeah.
Because I took it my senior year in college.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
Come here.
I did archery in the Boy Scouts from the other end. I was being taught, but it was I never could do it enough to be able to do it adequately.
Did you get a badge?
Oh yeah, I got a badge, but it was like do everything you can do short of bullseye.
Oh,
If you hit the target, you get the badge.
you get the badge.
But
I ended up teaching it. I never got the badge. I don't know how I ended up teaching it.
Oh, how
I guess because they needed somebody to teach it.
yeah, you were
Yeah,
qualified for that.
Yeah, I was qualified for that,
That's pretty impressive, Steve.
I didn't qualify for the rifle range, but I did for the archery. So
funny. Do you guys watch? I feel like this is one of those sports that might be harder to find during the Olympics televised, but do you guys watch this sport if you can find it?
if I can find it, yeah. I have a friend who's his father is and he's like in his 80s, is a national champion
Oh, wow.
in archery. Yeah, he's in his 80s.
Our curator, not our senior curator, but our curator of paintings and sculpture, 20th century paintings and sculpture, was the 1996 alternate for the women's archery team.
Really?
Yeah, so she that's always her claim to fame, and so she has a real love for the Diana in our collection, this large sculpture of Diana pulling back the bow, because that she sees herself in Diana. So
Well, I'm left-handed, so a lot of the bows you have to buy a special bow today.
She's left-handed too. That's really funny you say that.
Because like the long bow and some of the recurves, there's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get into the compound bows, you have to buy a special bow because of the way they're shaped. And I never didn't have enough interest at that point to spend the money for a compound bow.
Yeah, you're really committing at that point. And that's a lot
you
of
are.
stuff too.
You
So
and
that's
Jack,
about some people, I say, that's about all some people have ever used today is compound bows. They've never used the other ones. So they don't understand that there's so much more to it than just a compound bow.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, there's so much strength needed in these other ones.
Mhm.
And there's not as much accuracy unless you're really good with the long bows and the recurve,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, interesting.
So-
John,
So I like the way this picture is framed up. You got a sky, a mountains, and then
Yeah.
the earth.
Yeah.
And so it's like nicely centered.
Yeah, it's speaking. I feel like if you think of college brochures or going onto a high school website, it's gym classes never really looked like this with the tiering of
No.
girl. I mean, and the framing of the campus. So it's showing the campus just as much as the not diversity. There's zero diversity in these girls. They're all white.
Yep.
And
Female.
my guess is this time and age, they didn't put sunscreen on either.
mm-mm.
Or you're right.
Where did you say it's from?
It's in New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yeah, and so outside Albuquerque, New Mexico, and
Mhm.
so it was all girls, 6th through 12th grade at the time. These look like older girls. I feel like you're not seeing much of the younger girls in this. And then it ended up turning into after the war closing, but then reopening as a co-ed prep school.
Mm.
And so it was designed, this was a prep school designed for girls to eventually go to college on the East Coast. So it was like a true college prep, which there weren't many of these in this part of the country. And universities were still located, or prestigious universities were still located on the East Coast. So it was really geared toward that type of well-roundedness, college prep courses, that experience. And so we've got this was one of the brochure photographs, or, an option. And then this was another one, and it was featuring the new building when the school transferred from 1937. So you got to see the girls doing what is looks like beach volleyball in front of the new building.
And no air conditioning.
In Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh,
But look, they're wearing shorts, Yetta.
I know they are. That's that's what they wore at that time. Yes.
Yeah.
my gym
Oh,
outfit was
they're
bright
one-piece
orange.
outfits though, right?
Yeah.
Those are one-piece outfits.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife hated those.
The gym outfits like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
We
it's
all-
funny. I don't know. I thought they were playing volleyball, but does anyone know what this?
This looks like a ring
Yeah.
they're throwing.
Does anyone know what kind of version of a net sport that is? I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
The ring. No, I don't know that.
I would never have seen that if you hadn't pointed it out.
Yeah, it was what it was. I just noticed it now. I assumed it was volleyball, and I assumed incorrectly.
It's almost like a frisbee type of
Yeah.
game.
it looks
Yeah.
like they're trying to catch it on their arms.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because look, this team, it all has their arms pointing up. So we won't be seeing whatever sport this is, but we'll just pretend it's beach volleyball.
That's
And
right.
then we've
That's
got
right.
one more photograph, and this is by Elliot Porter,
Mm,
and
I
it's
like that.
of runners. And would anyone guess this Elliot Porter? What feels Elliot Porter about it, and what doesn't feel Elliot Porter about it?
The colors are too subdued for what we normally see for him.
It's a little muted, I agree. But it still has that almost like thickness or
Yeah.
not cloudy, but like opaqueness to it that he always has, that it almost feels like it's being illuminated from behind.
Mhm.
Okay.
But he doesn't normally show people.
Bingo, Martha, you nailed it right on the head. Bye, Steve. See you next week.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
No, you're right. This is not typical of him at all. And I was talking to the curator about this, and he said this is like a total anomaly from any of his photographs because he always focuses on nature. And I think last week, for those of you who are here, we looked at the seals laying on the beach. And the week before that, we were looking at the lobster cages and then the oyster shells with the crabs. It was all he's all very nature driven. And while nature is very prevalent, we've got those Central Park runners.
Yeah, this is a nature photograph. Taking pictures of the trees, and all of a sudden, a bunch of runners go across.
Yeah.
Like with a bunch of
Mhm.
deer or something.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The urban deer.
The urban deer.
And he took this while he was up in New York for opening at the Met that was featuring his photographs. And so he was very, he was just wandering around Central Park taking pictures. And this was just one he wanted to take. It was not for anything in particular, but just for himself.
That's a great tree, a series of trees.
Mhm.
I know it's framed so perfectly. Your eyes just go right to the opening.
Mhm.
And the outfits the runners are in mimic the colors of the nature around them.
Yes.
So running is another one of those. I think it's funny when they show like the fast walkers in the Olympics.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love
I
those
catch
too.
that. I love that one.
I think they're great.
The thing I worry about is the trees in the background are colored nicely green,
Mhm.
but it looks like everything else is fall. I mean,
It's like one late tree to the fall party.
Yes,
He's still
yes.
hanging on.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, these even look completely dead behind, or not dead,
Yeah.
but dormant behind it.
dormant. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely fall. And you can almost feel that crispness in the morning, like just looking at this picture, getting your run,
Yeah,
you can feel
yeah.
that the fall air coming in, that
Yep.
when you start to feel the season shift. So these are our photographs and images for the week, getting you all geared up for our Olympic kickoff starting on
right.
Friday. Well, it's already started, but the whole kit and caboodle kicks off Friday. So I hope you get to catch the sports you love to watch because I know it's so much fun the next couple of weeks. And
Yep.
Next week, I'm back in office and I cannot remember for the life of me what we're
Fish.
doing.
Fish.
So fish.
Fish.
Oh yeah, we've got some good ones. We had some fun images in our collection. So I will see you next week with my fishies in pocket and we will talk then.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye y'all. Have a good
Thank
weekend.
you
Have
so
a good
much.
vacation.
Thank you.
She's
Bye.
even gotten herself a tan, hasn't
Yes,
she?
she does have a
Mhm.
tan.
Yes. Okay, well, let's take a look then at tomorrow. Summer sports today, Jeopardy, United States symbols. This really is going to be fun. Because I had been making them so big that it was cumbersome, this is just taking a snapshot. So there are only 25 questions.
Okay.
And I tried to make them fun so that we have to talk about them, which is going to
Good.
be kind of neat.
That
And
sounds great.
It is. It's going to be fun. And notes to remember coming up on Friday.